Hello, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, good evening. Welcome to the S.S.Chandhok Talk Show. We are here again with another episode of the show. Without taking any time, I'll introduce you to the first eminent guest, Miss Aradhna Radha ma'am. She's a director and principal of Icon Public School, Ahmednagar. She is a dynamic speaker and conducts workshops for teaching spoken English, soft skills, and personality development. She conducts teachers training, parenting workshops, and life skill training for schools and other institutions. She has authored several books on the subject. Her first book, published in 2005, Communicate with Ease, Speak in English, Please, and the second, English Communication Made Easy, are being used as course book in college and spoken English institutes. English Matters, written by her in 2009, is a graded series of 8 books to improve grammar and spoken English of school children. These are being used as course books in schools all over India. She wrote Correctly Speaking in 2021, and now her series Master English is due to be released in Feb 2022. All the best to you, ma'am. Aradhna ma'am is also an ardent traveler and has travel blogs have been winners' hearts all around the world. She has been a panelist and moderator on numerous conferences, events, and summit on national and international platforms. She is a member of Wiki and the recipient of many awards and honors in the field of education. She is associated with many associations on the national and international level. Again, she has also received many awards on national and international level. We welcome you, ma'am, and we are very happy that you have spared your time for us to discuss on a very important topic, being basically an English teacher. We'd like to know from you, ma'am, that how did this journey of writing books came into your mind?
Thank you so much. Pleasure being on this forum. And my journey was, it was, I think, preordained somewhere because I'm a science postgraduate, never thought of English, but Army does that to you. When I got married to an Army officer, you go to places which have no colleges and, very small places. And Army officers' wives eventually turn out to be English teachers, most of them. So from that point of view, I became an English teacher courtesy marriage. Right in the beginning, it wasn't really my calling, that it was taken because that was the only thing to do. But gradually, I warmed up to teaching. And over the period of, say, 20-25 years, I became good at it. And then it was just by chance. I won't take very long with my journey because it had many twists and turns. So by default, when my husband retired, I wasn't very happy with the kind of system I was following because it didn't allow me enough of creativity. So I started teaching spoken English. By then, I think I was experienced enough. And while I was teaching spoken English, I came across these students who were MBAs, doctors, teachers, from all walks of life, but couldn't speak good English. So their mistakes are what I think goaded me into writing a book on spoken English. And that is how my first book came about. And gradually, I wrote a number of books, and then I started the school, the Icon Public School, with my husband. And then I thought I should write for children. So that is how the series came about. And this school was founded by us, and 14 years down the line, it's a senior secondary school now, CBSE affiliated. And we feel really happy that, we made a difference to a city like Ahmednagar. It's one of the best schools here, and we make a difference to the lives of students. Last year, I appointed another principal, and that is how I took over as director. And so founder principal, not really principal anymore. And now I devote a lot of time to other activities that Mr. Chandhok mentioned. So that is basically my journey in life. Very interesting, twists and turns, but eventually it's all turned out to be very good. Thank you.
That's great, ma'am. That's great, ma'am. And there's no age bar to start anything.
No.
Like technology, I just started this at the age of around 50. So you don't have any age of starting anything, and it was a wonderful thing that came into your mind that you should go on for something different, that is writing the books. That's great, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Next we have Pratima Sinha, ma'am. She holds the position of Chief Executive Officer at DSR Education Society, Hyderabad. The society has 7 schools named Birla Open Mind International and preschools in Hyderabad. Ma'am is a postgraduate in education with diploma in early childhood education and business English. Many new initiatives have been initiated under her leadership. She has headed schools with CBSE, ICSE, Cambridge, and IB programs. She has also held the position of regional academic head and Pearson Education at Pearson Education. She is an EDXL, that is Pearson Teaching Training certified trainer. All the organizations that she had joined, she, with her clear vision, raised the bar of work environment. She is on the advisory board of organizations like IECS and ISLI, Next Education, and EdSense. She has been invited as a speaker to various national and international forums and conferences. She has also been recognized and awarded by various organizations for her in-depth work in the field of education. She has published many articles in the educational magazines, which have been highly appreciated, and is a blogger. Her career graph showcases more than 3 decades of progressive qualitative experience across a wide gamut of functions like classroom teaching, academic audit, curriculum development and planning, teachers training, mentoring and monitoring, school operations and financing, setting up and managing schools. She has done extensive research and development many modules in teaching, pedagogy, and English enhancement programs for adults. Her passion for performing arts has led her to be a member of Nishambita Theatre Group, where she has played many vital roles. She is right now working and researching on correlating life skills with theatre and benefit of theatres on autistic children. And again, ma'am has received awards on national and international level. And again, she is associated with lot of associations and NGOs on national and international level she's working. Welcome, Pratima ma'am. We are very thankful that you have spared your time for us. Uh, Please let us know about yourself, your blog. We like to know in this episode, as well as the theater part which you're working.
Thank you so much for inviting me today, Mr. Chandok. And it's good to be here with such lovely people. And I would like to associate, even after the session is over, we would like to connect afterwards also. My journey, especially if you are asking me about theater, I feel theater is, from school time, I was always best in drama. So, I used to be known as the drama queen, and I still feel I can be a big drama queen. But later on, I felt that, even today, in fact, in our school, one of our centers, the teachers had put up a theater. We have started with something like Navarasas, where, teachers perform on different emotions and all that, because we personally feel that theater in education is so very important. When teachers are acting, when teachers are doing theater, they're losing their inhibitions, and they can, bring down that to the students themselves. So that is what I like to promote. And in fact, when I was doing this, I came across this beautiful gentleman. In fact, I wouldn't say beautiful gentleman. I came across a gentleman who was, working with autistic children with alternative therapy. And theater was one of them, where they use mask and theater skills to make the autistic child comfortable, children who are dealing with autism. So this is where I felt that, theater has to come in, whether it is normal child or a child who's dealing with autism, because it is one of the most expressive way of communicating. So that's how I feel that I need to bring it to every session, every forum. I always talk about it, and I'm very passionate about it. And till the end, I'm going to definitely believe in it, and I will carry it forward.
Thank you, ma'am. And what about blogs, ma'am? You are writing blogs or?
Blogs, I started writing during pandemic time, and my first blog was about my communication with my grandson. He is in grade 5, and because everybody was under lockdown, and he used to just call me up and ask me, Nani, what is happening? What is happening? What is going in the backyard? And those kind of things. And that led me to feel that I need to share it with everybody. And that's how, I started liking and I started writing blogs. And I've been putting a lot of blogs, across. And I've also started making videos of my experiences. My latest video, actually, I don't know whether you'll be able to, I can share it with you. It's about future of learning, how we need to start changing our perspective and our mindset to start thinking about what another 10 years or 20 years our schools will require, our teachers will require, our students will require. So I've started working on that. In fact, I've come up with Bloomstack. I'm going beyond whatever you're asking, but it's like, right now we are using Bloom's taxonomy for our assessments and for lesson plans. But, I came across this Fink's taxonomy, which is a new thing. And I'm talking about it. And I'm actually now I'm working on it. I'll prepare a lesson plan, a sample lesson plan I would like to share with everybody if it works out well. So
Sure,
that is
ma'am.
what, we have to start thinking about the future, and we need to start working from today.
Please do share the link, ma'am, and we will for sure see to it what we can, gain knowledge from your experience. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. Next, we have Yashika Bharadwaj, ma'am. Ma'am is the principal of KR Mangalam World School, Ghaziabad. Ma'am is BA in BA, has done BA honors, MA and BH and MH and DCA and PGDPC. Ma'am has completed her schooling from England. Ma'am completed her honors and masters in English from the Punjab University, Chandigarh. She secured the gold medal in the bachelor's as well as her master's degree in education. She has been in the field of education since 1985, a keen writer. She has authored several books in the educational field and has written several articles for journals such as Swagat and the Cavalier. An excellent orator, she has been an active member of debating societies in India and England and has compared events at the national level such as for national television and the Army Day parade held in New Delhi. She had held the esteemed position of the president of the Government College for Girls Chandigarh, sports in charge of the hostel of GCG, and the president of the youth club of Raksha Bhavan, New Delhi. She has been a keen sports person, having represented her school in athletics and basketball and her college in lawn tennis and swimming. She has also been the winner of the Noida Squash Open for women. She has been actively involved in community services, having conducted adult literacy diverse drives for women, computer literacy campaigns, and financial empowerment for women. Ma'am, you have not left anything. She has been appreciated by the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation for her efforts in environment education. An avid traveler, she has traveled vast not only in India but across the world. She has been a passionate and dynamic teacher who is committed to the students' success, targeting that each student maximizes her potential. Her teaching learning methodology has enabled her students to attain a high level of achievement in her subject. She has been appointed by the CBSE as an observer for inspection and examinations, as a mentor for implementation of academic strategies, and has been a CBSE counselor for the past 8 years. An essential team player and innovative thinker with a high level of self motivation. She has been the principal of CBSE schools for the past 18 years. She is currently heading the KR Mangalam World School in Vaishali, Ghaziabad. In this capacity, she has handled all aspects of school operations, administration, finance, teachers, and mentoring and development and curriculum development. And again, ma'am is associated with so many associations, and the award list is so big that it will take a long time to read about that. Of course, very big, good personalities are over here. And thank you so much, Yashika ma'am, for coming. But how do you get this energy? We were always the backbenchers. I was the backbencher during my school and college time. And because you had been the first bencher, might be had been sitting in the first seat only. And you were in sports also. Like we see that sports students, they miss their classes and go to the ground, and you had managed both of them because you have got gold medals also in your education also, as well as over there also. So did you left anything for the other students or not?
Thank
Please.
you for your kind words, Mr. Chandok, and thank you for having me here. But one of the mantras in my life, which I've lived by ever since I was a little girl, was that before I go off to sleep at night, I need to analyze the day and understand that have I done as much as I could in the day? And if the answer is yes, I sleep very well. And if the answer is no, you'll find me fidgeting and up and trying to do something till the middle of the night. And I think it's just an approach or an attitude that you have, whether you want to do something or you don't. And I was, yes, you're right, a first bencher, but a first bencher who the teachers would want to definitely push to the back bench because I was opinionated, and whether it was in school or college. And I think that's what led me to my political forays in college and in school and in debating. So I'm sure the teachers would probably want ki chup chap sit piche bathi rahe. If she bunks a class or not, we don't mind. And sports, like I think Aradhana will agree, it comes with your upbringing. I remember my grandfather, who was in the army as well, when he used to walk his dogs in the morning, would make me train, and he had measured the distances between lampposts, and I had to do my sprints between those while he very diligently watched with a stopwatch. So it's just something I've grown up with. The sense of adventure, I think if you don't have a sense of adventure in your life, life is not worth living. I remember as a young girl, when I was in grade 6, we read about this lovely fishing village called Tromsø in Norway. And it was a dream to go visit. And the last travel that I did was I planned a completely solo trip to cross the Arctic Circle and see the aurora borealis from inside the Arctic Circle. And that was an experience. And like you said, age is no barrier. And I've just done that 2 years ago. So it's just an attitude, but it's a pleasure to be with you and to be sharing some of it with my colleagues here.
That's
Very
great,
nice.
ma'am. But one more question. Are your teachers happy with you? Because in education, you are a principal, so you might be after them that you had to be perfect, like you had been throughout your life. And otherwise, you had been in sports also. So on ground also, they might not be fooling you because you know everything.
I
So
think,
how?
I've always called my team my extended family. And the next time you call me on a talk show, I'll bring a teacher along with me so you can ask them that. But the approach to my extended family or my team is that your team is as strong as the weakest link, and I don't give up. I think that's what comes from sports, that you don't give up. And, like you say, the battle is not lost till the last bullet has been fired. And we take them along with us. And if you stand as an example for the benchmarks you lay for the others simply follow. So it works both ways.
It
They
is for sure,
inspire
ma'am.
me.
Yes, ma'am, it is for sure. And those I don't know much, but I know that the teachers or the senior teachers or the teachers who had an experience with you for at least 2-3 years, they might have moved out as an administrator only.
Yes, they
Many of
have.
them might.
Yes,
This
they
is for
have.
sure. That's a part of joke that मैम तो खुद भागती रहती है, हमको भी हर समय भगाती रहती है. But when you work more, you learn more.
Yeah,
And if you want to remain at the same place, so then you should not work. If you want to move forward, then you have to work more with the leaders like you.
It's
That is
very
for
true.
sure.
And if you succession plan, then you're actually generating leaders for tomorrow.
Yeah,
and who get absorbed.
You are a principal maker, ma'am. You are a principal
Thank
maker.
you.
Many might have moved into the schools as a principal for sure.
Yes, they have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we are grateful that you have joined us again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Anju Sanyal, ma'am. Ma'am is the principal of Indus International School, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Ma'am has done MA in English, B.Ed from Lucknow University, and M.Ed also. Technical qualification, she has diploma in system management, NIT Lucknow. She has 11 years teaching experience in City Montessori School from 1995 to 2006. 1 year of teaching in APS Delhi, that is from class 9 to 12. Then 7 years teaching in Awadh Collegiate, again from 9 to 12, from 2008 to 2015. She has an experience of being a supervisor in charge coordinator along with teaching. Priyadashini Vidya Mandir School as principal from 2015 to 18. And she has worked as a principal in Shamford Futuristic School from July 2018 to 2019. and principal in Sanket Mochan Public School since July 2019 to March 2021, and now in Indus International Academy 2021 till this date. Ma'am has an experience in authorization procedure for setting up new schools, developing marketing strategies for setting and establishing new schools, development training programs for school teachers, administrator exam procedure, experience in running of schools as head of school, conduct CTET exams and NEET exams also, processing affiliation procedure in schools. We welcome you, Anju ma'am, as we have seen that you had been principal in around 4 to 5 schools till now, and I think all were the baby schools which were given to you.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm really fortunate to be a part of this show, and I'm pursuing my PhD also, Sarvjit. And as I've completed, and English has always been my subject. And as Yashika said, teamwork is always there. We always develop each other for the progress. Everybody has to be, if it's only the initiative which one takes in enhancing others. So I'm really very thankful to you, Sarabjit Singh, for the invitation, and I hope I learn a lot from this show.
Ma'am, you have a very great experience because you had been the founder principals of
Yes,
most of the
yes, you are
schools.
right. And after such big experiences of my journey, and I have been uplifting the schools from the foundation, and so it was very good, but it's a good experience of making a school and giving it nowadays, like everybody to coming together and taking all the children, coming to them, then a new school. And I have got experience of conducting the various examination nowadays CBSE conducts. So I have been the center superintendent in all the schools.
That's great, ma'am. And almost everybody, every principal is doing this duty of all the CS and all, and
Yes,
observer,
yes, yes,
I'm flying
yes.
squad and all. So we are indulging to CBSE is not
Yes,
leaving even a single
observers
principal.
also.
Yeah, a
Yes,
single
yes.
principal is not being left this year in
No.
the term one examination. But the difference is that you had been the founder principal. You know, I also had been founder principal of 2 of the schools, Seth Anand and
Okay.
Japuria, which you have
Okay.
branch in Ghaziabad also, Yashika
Yes,
ma'am.
we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'm the favorite one of Manju Rana ma'am, who's the director now of all the schools. Because basically Jaipuri has foundation from Kanpur only. Their first school
Right.
was in Kanpur only.
Yes.
Then they
Right.
started up in Ghaziabad. So I was the founder principal of one of the branch, Hamirpur. It is near Kanpur only. Then in this school, Sky Valley International, here also I'm the founder principal. So you get the the depth of the affiliation and everything you come to know about. Now you have that confidence in you that you can settle any school from the beginning. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. We'll talk to you in the later part of the show. Thank you, ma'am. Next we
Okay.
have Gurleen. Yes, ma'am. Next we have Gurleen Kaur, ma'am. Ma'am is the principal of Ragendra Sarup Public School, Agra. From 2005 to 2014, she had been PGT English in St. George College, Agra. From 2014 to 2019, she was senior coordinator in GS Goenka's school. From 2019 till date, sorry, GD Goenka. So many Goenkas have come, so you get sometimes CP Goenka and many Goenkas. From 2019 to till date, she's the principal of Gajendra Sarup Public School, Ragendra Sarup Public School. And her education is from Yajendra Public School, Patiala. That's great, ma'am. I know that school. My Nani house is in Patiala only. So this is the oldest school in Punjab, at least YPS. YPS exactly it is known as. And she's an ardent fan of Shakespeare, loves to travel a lot. She had been in fashion industry and also had shared ramp with Gul Panang. She was also her classmate in graduation. That's great, ma'am. And excellently managing school operations and providing strongly leadership to teachers and staff member. Let me make it clear that she is in education by choice and not by chance. Being in education also, ma'am, you had been into the, this fashion industry also, Gulpanag and more celebrities you might have worked with. Please share an experience as how did you came into the fashion industry?
So, good evening, everyone, and I'm highly elated to be part of your show, Mr. Chandok, because the dignitaries you have, I feel, I still have a long way to go because I may not have such accolades like everyone else here. But yes, I will probably, after your show today, I'll idolize all of you, dear dignitaries. You have really done so well. And, like as we have just talked about that age has no barrier to learn, so even I feel that I have miles to go before I sleep. So my journey has been very simple, like Radna ma'am just said that uh, mm, even my switching over to education is courtesy marriage. So prior to that, when I was in college, Gul Panag was with me. So we walked the ramp together. I was Miss Patiala. And then we had to go for Miss Punjab. But my parents thought of, getting me married because probably, during those days, it was like they had that orthodox kind of thought process. And they wanted, the girl to get married and then do whatever. But I was a staunch believer that, education, if you have to have respect, you have to be fully educated. So I completed my graduation, my master's, my B.Ed, NTT, and my course in computer software programming after my marriage. And for 10 years, I was like studying. And then, and raising my children. So then I joined St. George's as a computer teacher initially. So there was always a tiff with my principal that I want to switch over to English, but he said, no, you're doing quite well as the head of the Department of Computers. But, and at home, I was taking coaching for Shakespeare. So since he did not want me to switch over to English, so I changed my workplace and I went to GD Goenka as the head of the English department and the academic coordinator. So there I felt, that I have that job satisfaction. And like Pratima ma'am said, during my school days and my college, I was also into dramatics. So now if we talk about fashion, though they sound to be antonyms, but at the same time, I feel and believe in holistic development of every student. If you are good at speaking English, if you are good with grammar in everything, you also need to look good as in your body language. So here I would say that fashion and language are hand in glove. They go hand in hand. So this is what I believe. And like Yashika ma'am, she's from GCG Chandigarh. So Punjab is always, where I look up to. Coming to Uttar Pradesh, there's a lot of culture change, and but still, like she says that every student has potential. I also feel that each and every student is talented. It is the school, the teachers, and the principal, how they, give space to a child to explore himself or herself and his talents. So that is what I believe. Thank you so much.
That's great, ma'am. I was about to ask you, from education to fashion industry, you came into from fashion industry also to, after marriage, I think you left over the fashion industry and came into education. So did you ever thought that you will come to a show like the S.S. Chandhok talk show?
कपिल शर्मा वाली बात
It's an honor, really. It's an honor.
I'm just joking, ma'am. I'm just joking, ma'am. I'm just joking. We need to have young talent also, because you're the youngest of all of us. We need to have young talent also, because you people will only take forward the technology and everything.
No, but here, sorry, I'm cutting you here, but here I believe all the leaders present here, they are no less. The kind of excitement, the kind of, thought process you all have, like Yashika ma'am and Jaswinder sir himself, everybody. Each one of you. In fact, I am looking up to you, how brilliant you all are and how active you all are. So I really idolize. From today, I'm going to idolize each one of you and follow the footsteps, probably. Yeah.
Ma'am, there's no need of idolizing. It is that we are sharing our ideas, our experience. You learn from a 1 year child also.
Yes,
So it is
yes,
like
true.
sharing of the thoughts and sharing of the experience. Nobody is more or less. Everybody is equal over here. Thank
Learning
you.
is
And
a continuous process.
yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes.
You learn every time, and from
yes,
everything you keep learning, Gurleen.
yes,
And
ma'am.
past 2 years, we have learned a lot.
Yes,
We
of
have
course.
really.
We have
Yes,
learned a
no
lot.
doubt.
Times have really taught us well, but we have
Whatever
all,
we have done,
shown out. Yeah.
yeah, whatever we have done in these 2 years, especially in the term one examination, now CBSE even
Yes.
believes we can do anything.
True.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we'll come to Jaswinder sir, Jaswinder Singh. He is the ex-founder director of Decimate, which is now Reliance Group Company, MD and CEO of Wordsworth English Language Lab. He has an experience of 32 years in the field of education, successfully run 2 edutech companies. He has worked as a consultant to the government of Bahrain through UNESCO, advised the government on the use of ICT in education, passionate edtech leader. Wordsworth is used by over 1 million learners annually through more than 3,000 plus schools and colleges worldwide. Launched the world's first Sanskrit language lab, also developed language lab for Hindi. He is based out in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
And I had seen when I met you one of the show, and I got interested to call you on the show to let us know about your company and the experience, and what is the probability and what benefits we can get out of the language lab which you are running. So please tell us about your how did you started this, starting from your state when Modi sir was there in Gujarat as CM, and how did it came into your mind in short, as well as now coming up to the Sanskrit language. It's a very unique and different thing. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Chandok ji, and thank you for having me here. You talk about Modi ji. We've got a long, work relation with our current Prime Minister. So, like most of you, I too started as as an IT trainer. I worked with Microsoft as an outsourced trainer and used to train countries which are in the Asian part, beyond India. So that was the time then we were training the entire government force for the government of Gujarat. I'm based out of Ahmedabad, born and brought up here. So when we were doing this, we were actually asked to train 50,000 government employees because Gujarat became the first state in the country to have everything computerized. So during the tenure of Modi ji, he was running these programs which are Vibrant Gujarat. They were supposed to have recently, but it got postponed, where they get investments from all other countries. We had major problem in Gujarat was with language. Predominantly RSS and things like that. So yeah, English ko zyada focus nahi tha. You had to be in Gujarati or Hindi and things like that. So he said, let's do one thing. Let's train 100,000 youth every year to become proficient in English. And he actually picked up our company along with 2 other companies and said, I'll give you infrastructure, I'll give you students, I'll give you everything, get your trainers and do it. We were very happy. Such a big project, lakh bachon ko padhana is beyond something that a person would think, and that to every year. But he put in one caveat. He said, if you put up one center in urban Gujarat, you have to put 2 centers in rural Gujarat. And that's where the puncture was. We were able to get all the teachers in urban area, but rural area, nobody would go there. So we were left with people who were not very good to do a job which he would do. And he said, after you train, Cambridge would certify them. And he's a taskmaster. So that is where we realized that you need to support teachers with some of the other content, and we started developing content for delivering good teaching and learning processes. That means somebody who's not that great should be able to use this product and deliver. When we started doing it was a success, and that's where we realized that we are training adults, but this language learning should be actually done during the schooling. College is no time to do that. You should always be good by that time. And that's where we started, setting up language labs. So we were the first one to come up with language labs in schools. And that's almost 15 years back. And that's how the entire work of getting onto this. The other thing is before this, like I said, it is DesignMate, Chandok, and not DesignMate. DesignMate is a company which, again, I tell you now, I would want to talk to most of you from the army background. I had a partner who was from the army. He had retired because of an injury. He was, among the top rankers as NDA, and he and I together created a company known as Design Mate, which came up with world's first 3D animated content, which Educom used to use. Educom did not make anything that was actually designed by us, and that's what we were putting. And the beauty of that program was, or that company was, 80% of the staff members were disabled. People who were blind, deaf, mute, disabled, without limbs and things like that, because he didn't have any kids, and he said, this is what I want to do for the world. And just around 6 months back, it was acquired by Reliance, because I left them to form to create Wordsworth, and then he was 75 plus, so that was taken up. But that was a time, when I worked with the army people, you get to know how diligently they work. एक चीज को बनाने के लिए अगर 10 बार तोड़ना है तो तोड़ देंगे, but they will do only with something that is perfect. And that's what has helped me in my life. I still call him my guru, and that's it. So yes, army trains us into this. I've been unfortunate not to be born in an army family, but fortunate to work with almost 80 army schools across the country, ma'am.
Wow.
Almost all the army schools we work with. So that's the whole way that we got in. Now coming on to Sanskrit. See, since I was into IT and I used to train on behalf of Microsoft, what I read was that Germany is doing a lot of work in Sanskrit. Why? And then when I spoke to people, I realized that the most logical language in the world is Sanskrit. You know what happens is that even if there's a spelling or the word, the spellings are logically put. It is not because of the sound. It is because of the logic that comes in. And that's where I started. And this is one language you can speak in any way. I'll give you a simple example. My name is Jaswinder. I can't say Jaswinder, name my. But in Sanskrit, I can say Mama Nama Jaswinder. Jaswinder Mama Nama. Mama Nama Jaswinder. Jaswinder Nama Mama. Anything is okay. Right? Because that language is so accommodating. And that's what they say is it is the best language to move from a language to a coding language. So that's why we got into this. Plus, we knew that NEP 2020 is going to come in, and this government is going to make it important that schools go in for this thing. In fact, we were asked by the people up there, they start working on Sanskrit. We need you to do it. And already 570 Kendriya Vidyalayas are using this Sanskrit lab of ours because it's a mandate with them. And now, August 6th, last year, there was a circular by the CBSE that all schools need to have communicative Sanskrit in 9th and 10th. So that's where this is coming. And then because of NEP, Hindi, and then Punjabi, and then Bengali, and then Tamil, and then Gujarati, all these languages have to come in. So in due course, that's what we plan to do. Thank you.
That's great, sir. So you are having 4 languages or 5?
Yeah,
how many
right
languages?
now English, Sanskrit, Hindi, and French would be out by April, and then the
Great.
Indian languages, other Indian languages. Yeah.
That's
French is
great,
because
sir.
a lot of high-end schools or schools which I meet a lot of schools in Delhi and Bangalore and Bombay. They all say they want to have additional languages because anyway, a child can acquire up to 5 languages by the age of 8. Why not expose them to that? So that was the idea of getting foreign languages. And if you know one language and if you're good at that, you can always get onto other. It's all about love for language. There's nothing else that you need to acquire. So why not give them that? So that was the whole idea.
That's great, sir. Wonderful, wonderful. You're doing a wonderful job, and all the best to you to bring up all the other languages also.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Chandok.
much, sir.
Thank you
so much for joining us and sparing your time out of so busy schedule. Thank you, sir. We'll come up to the next round for the questioning. I won't say it questioning, just a discussion round. First of all, I'll come to Aradhna ma'am. Aradhna ma'am, what according to you is the significance of language learning?
Thank you, Mr. Chandhok. First of all, I'm so impressed by all the panelists. You've done such great work, and most of it comes from languages. So, what can I say about the significance? It's like breathing, because language is needed for expression, and expression is the essence of human life. I mean, there can be nothing, which can come before that. Like when you see a small child, the child expresses when a child is hungry or needs attention, but has no words. So today we are not talking about body language, we are not talking about sign language, we are talking about the spoken word. So if you see anybody's child, a very small child does not immediately attract you, because there are no words which attract you. Your own child, of course, I mean, there's nothing beyond that. But if you see a child who speaks a few words, you naturally get attracted, because there's something about that wow moment when you say, okay, I mean, where did that come from? Because the child utters, some words or some expressions which, naturally attract your attention. So it starts with that. When children, start expressing themselves in words, gradually the skill gets honed and they learn from the environment. And as they grow up, we teach them formal language. Now, where is the need to teach them formal language? Because no matter what, the basic English language, or any language for that matter, your mother tongue, whatever you learn, is for your basic needs and wants. As you grow older, you need to express your feelings, you need to express your ideas, your opinions. So for that, a language skill is taught. Now, since I teach English language and spoken language, I'd like to draw an analogy, which I use with my students also. I start with grammar, and when we teach them parts of speech, actually, you don't have to learn, really, you don't have to know what a noun, verb, any of these things is. But you have to use them properly. It's like making a building. These are like bricks of a building. The proper size, proper shape have to be put in a proper manner for a building to stand. That's the foundation of the building. So that is why grammar is essential for you to know at the back of your mind, maybe not think about it consciously, but the basic structure comes from the grammar. But that's not enough, because when you make a building like that with bricks joined together, it doesn't seem beautiful. So what you have to do after that? You paint it, you polish it, and you add color to it. And that is what happens with language. After you put the bricks together, you cannot polish and paint irregular bricks which don't form a building. So first, the foundation of a building has to be laid with the bricks properly placed together, then colored and polished. And that is the time we teach the nuances of beautiful language. The figures of speech come in, the intonation, the expression. So all that comes in, and that is when a beautiful structure is created. So that is why, language learning skill becomes important as a learned skill. It does not suffice what you learn from your environment and need-based, language. Also, language gives authenticity to education. No matter what, I don't say it's true. Not all educated people need to speak a language well, but by and large, this is, something that subconsciously we all think about. A person who speaks a language well, in your mind, it's like ticked, well educated, cultured. So these kind of tags that we give to a person who speaks a language beautifully is something that has been inculcated in us over a period of time, because we more often than not, we feel that we come across people who are very good communicators because they can communicate in any language. I won't say English. I talk so much about English because I'm so much into English and I write books, but read any language for English. So, a person like, say, Amitabh Bachchan, or now Manoj Muntasir, or Shashi Tharoor, why do they attract us so much? They speak so beautifully, the flow of words, the vocabulary, the diction. So it's this that attracts us to them. In our mind, it connects with educated, cultured, and well brought up. All those adjectives come to your mind when a person communicates well. So in a society where we live, it's very, very important. Though these days I see a lot of erosion in any language with the mixture of languages. It's not the mixture that hurts me, but it's a wrong grammar and the wrong constructions that hurt me. So whatever language that you speak, if you speak it well, it is well received. Then secondly, a language, of course, it enhances multiple skills, like somebody had just mentioned, leads to cognitive development in children, leads to, higher order thinking skills. Now, a student, if you imagine in a school, has a poor knowledge of language. what does he do? He might have all the concepts, he might understand everything. How is he going to put it down on paper? On paper, he needs a language skill to show that he knows. So a student who has good language skills does not need to learn by rote. He just has to understand. Whereas students, say in an English medium school, if a child is poor at English, he may understand, he might be intelligent, but very often he's thought of as non-intelligent because the poor thing cannot put down on paper what he knows. So that is why also language becomes a skill that has to be there in your scheme of things. Otherwise, no matter how much you know, you're not able to project your knowledge. And when you see in society, there's a saying that if you want to kill a country, kill the language. And if you want people's love the language. It's, when you stand on stage and you speak the language of your audience, immediately there's a connection. So that is why this being multilingual really helps for you to connect. Language is not about an academic skill only. Language is about connection to the brain and the heart. Whereas science, maths, it's all got to do with a cerebral part of you. But language has to do with the emotional part of you also. You connect to people with language. So with all these things, language does become something that we can't do without. It is something that is as, I think, essential as breathing.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Because we can summarize that if there is no language, so there is no communication. When there is no communication, there will always be a problem. And vice versa also. If language learning is over there, proper.
Yes.
What you have talked about is that people do speak English, they know English, but the grammar is not right, or the way, or whatever you say, learning is not right. And ma'am, it is also very sorrowful that many teachers also, many teachers also, they're speaking, or because you see, all the schools are not in the cities, they're in the remote areas also. India is an agricultural land. So there also teachers need to learn. If teacher is not knowing properly, how can they pass it to the students also? It may be any language. It may be English, Hindi, or any. Because English is an international language, people pay more stress on that. Of course, if the language is not clear, the communication won't be problem. And that is only that a child has that thing in his mind. He knows everything, but he's not able to write down. Parents do say, they come to the principals or the teachers, इसको सब कुछ आता है, सुनाने पे आओ सब कुछ सुना देता है, लेकिन जब उसको लिखने की बारी आती है, वो उसको पेन डाउन जॉट डाउन नहीं कर पाता. So that is the problem, that language learning is not proper over there. There's something gap in that. So we need some tools like Jaswinder sir has a tool also, like the tools like this, where the flow can go right. We as an administrator also feel that when we are putting up something into, in system, the teachers do it for some time, again that thing is being removed away, again you have to tell them, this you were doing, why you're not doing this, do it again. But when a system comes up, like for example, this lab is over there, so that will come into the teacher mind also. Teacher will keep on also learning, as well as she will communicate the right things at the right place. Students have become very smart. If the teacher is not giving the right thing, they won't attend the classes, like almost all of us are facing. They put a switch on the camera and they don't move out throughout their home. Why? Parents, if something they're saying, ma'am जो पढ़ाती है वो समझ में आता नहीं, वो मैं YouTube पे classes देख लूंगा. So you have to become more smarter than the students. So for that, language learning through technology is also very important nowadays, for sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Pratima ma'am will come up to you, and we'll also like to know your views on the importance or significance of language learning in children life.
Okay, so according to me, what we are talking about is not just the English language per se. We are talking about any language, right? So language is a vital part of any communication or any human connection, I would say. And it is said that when a child is born, the child is actually able to identify or differentiate at least 800 sounds. And slowly and steadily as he grows, then only the sounds and the language that he keeps hearing, he sticks to that. So When we say pen is mightier than sword, I feel that is so very important. The word has so much power. And if the language is not taught in a right way, whether it is Hindi, because what I have seen in my schools generally, um, teachers are not very clear about the Hindi language also. Teachers are not very clear about English language also. Teachers who are Telugu speaking, because I'm in Hyderabad and we have Telugu speaking teachers and we have Telugu in the classes, they are also not very clear about the basics of the language. So that is where, maybe I take help of Mr. Jaswinder. But what I personally feel is when ma'am is talking about, the beauty of language, teachers have to be exposed to that. When we talk, the expectations from us is that teachers should know that, teachers should know that. But are we giving them that kind of exposure? We have taken them in our school, but are we giving them that kind of exposure? If the teacher's language is good, definitely it'll percolate to the student in a natural flow. But if her language herself, she's not sure. And now, I'm actually from North, but I've been in Hyderabad from last 40 years. So when I speak Hindi, I'm so conscious because my Hindi has become Hyderabadi Hindi. So this is where, when we talk about the correct usage of language, we have to give our teachers the correct professional help so that, they teach in the right way. Even today, the other day from our Birla EduTech from Mumbai, we had received these handwriting books where I saw M was, full line till the red, the capital M, which earlier we used to say that no, it should be halfway through. So times are changing. CBSE is also talking about workable English. CBSE is not stressing on the grammar at all. Maybe in Cambridge schools and all, they stress on grammar. I was from a Cambridge school. My teacher never ever used to bring a textbook to the classroom. She used to take us to the library and we used to read comprehensions and we used to write. Where is that thing today? Are our teachers able to do that? Are we giving them that kind of exposure? Are we giving them that kind of opportunities to, give the best in the language? Now, languages, if they definitely, I would say they build societies, they build the culture, they build the tradition of an entire nation, the country, the worldwide. They are used for businesses, they are used for personal communication, they are used for individual development. Again, I'm coming back, my last point is individual development. Everybody loves to use, teachers also. I've seen when teachers connect with parents, parents come back to us and say that, this is what the teacher told me. And when we speak to the teachers, they say, no, ma'am, we never meant it that way. So again, the communication is from the teacher. So it is, according to me, it's very, very essential, very, very important that our teachers have to be trained, whether she's a science teacher. See, I was a science teacher, but I substituted. I remember when I was a principal, our English teacher was absent, and I substituted for some time in her class, and I was supposed to introduce dialogue writing. And I don't I really didn't know the nuances of teaching dialogue writing. So what I did was, that was my, I think, my creativity. I took them out into the garden. I made them sit under the bamboo trees, which make, when they move, they make a lot of noise. And I told my children that close your eyes and talk to these trees. And they were out for 10-15 minutes. All of them closed. I'm talking about 10th grade. They all closed their eyes and they were listening to the bamboo trees moving, swish and and then they came back to the class and I told them, you write what you spoke to the bamboo tree. And beautifully they were able to write the dialogue between the bamboo tree and themselves. So it is basically the teacher who has to be given that kind of professional help and support to come up with beautiful language, whether it is English, Hindi, or any other regional language. Thank you.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Great. Your thoughts are very great because it's like that only we expect. We should give help also. We should support them. We should give them the tools in any of the way that how they can improve themselves. Like the way we need. That's for sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, I'll come up to Yashika, ma'am. Yashika, ma'am, we had been seeing since long that schools pay more attention on the curriculum, the syllabus. We have to complete the syllabus. We cannot do this. We cannot do that. We cannot do extra things over there because we have got less time. CBSE says that we have to complete the syllabus, or in any grade, we have to complete the syllabus. So here, the language learning suffers. And that is the most important thing. That is the engine of the train. If engine is not there, the whole train will be useless. So do you think that importance of language learning should be given in the curriculum?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chandhok. I put to you a question in return, that is there any subject you know that can be taught without a language?
But ma'am, language learning gap is over there. We see that every child is born up with the equal mind, equal brain. But you see the result of each of them is different from each other. Why? Because that learning, how that learning is going on. If a child is born in a Bengali family, he knows how to speak and write Bengali even. And a child is born in USA, he knows how to speak in English since his birth. So the same way, when the child comes to the school and the teachers teach them, they are basically, what I want to say is, they are after the syllabus, that I have to complete my chapters. Otherwise, I'll be given a peace of mind from my principal or coordinator. So what do you feel that, or what do you feel that should language learning should be given more importance?
See,
Importance is over there. Language learning is over there.
I think we'll agree to disagree on this, because when a curriculum is set keeping the expected learning outcomes in mind. And whether the curriculum or the syllabi has been set by the CBSE or by you as a principal, surely some logic and thought has gone into it. And there is a time frame by which you need to complete, but that time frame has been very scientifically worked out. And that time frame for the completion of syllabi leaves you ample room to cater for remediation, where you need to be teaching the children who are, slightly more intelligent, along with the ones who need remedial help. So when this differentiation is taking place, it takes place across all the subjects. So where and why we say that language suffers, I don't agree with you on that at all. The language, when a child is coming into a school, as has just been mentioned, the child born can differentiate between sounds, but we make the mistake of assuming that a child coming to us in the KG class or the nursery class does not have information or knowledge. I challenge you that a 3-year-old child, if you start from the entrance of your door or your school and you ask them to name the things that he or she can see, the child has a vocab of over 500 words already. So when we are trying to teach the nuances of a language to a child, we fail to comprehend that the child already knows how to use nouns, verbs, adjectives, because a child knows how to identify things. A child can express what he or she is doing, and a child can express how he or she is feeling. So, and in India, we have the unique feature that a child coming to you is more or less bilingual by nature. I remember, and as Aradhana mentioned, that the key essence, in fact, there's a lesson in grade 12 called The Last Lesson, where you've got a beautiful line that in order to hang on to your individuality, you need to retain or hang on to your language. And the teacher, before he leaves, writes "Vive la France" over on the board as he's leaving. A child coming to you, I come from a Punjabi family, so when I came into school, I could speak and communicate in Hindi, and I could understand Punjabi because my grandmother was speaking it with my mom. When we went to the UK, English being taught in India, I already knew the third language English. I had to learn French and I wanted to learn German. So by the time I finished year 10, I could communicate in 5 languages. But at the same time, I will also add that as I moved within the country from place to place, I picked up languages. If you, since Jaswinder has made the Sanskrit lab, one of my favorite shloks is Kak Cheshta Bakodhyanam Shwana Nidra Tathe Vachao Alpahari Brahmachari Vidyarthi Panchalakshanam. And I learned Sanskrit many, many years ago. And at the same time, I still remember Ma 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 Mambalam, Sailitta Mambalam, Tittikka Mambalam, Vallo Ma Mambalam. That's Tamil. So you pick up languages, and there is no point of time where you can deride the importance of a language in curriculum. Where we go wrong is that we fail to bring a language to life. We need to bring alive, whether it's English or whether it's Hindi. If you can get the child to feel the subject on hand, they will come for that language subject at the cost of their science subjects, at the cost of their maths. If the teacher can bring alive that subject, they will come to you and they will know the importance of the language because it helps them to relate to their emotions. No other subject can help you relate to your emotions as a human being more than a language. And in my colleagues have spoken about the importance of continuous professional development. Where we fail as heads is in the CPD, because we fail to emphasize enough to our teachers how they can upgrade their delivery skills as far as pedagogy is concerned. And we still, the most boring, in fact, I've always maintained that an idiot can do it, that you pick up a book, you read it, and you explain it. Anybody can do it. But to have a passion for your subject and to speak about it, and if you are teaching a poetry that speaks about the loss of a parent, if you can have that little child sitting in that corner, sitting quietly with a tear rolling down because he can relate to it from the heart.
You've done your job.
You've done your job. That's magic. That's been created over there. And it's extremely important that we understand that languages have adequate place of importance. It's not theek hai, English hai, theek hai, Hindi hai. No, it's English, it's Hindi. And right now, through technology, we have such a world open to us with which you can use music, you can use drama, you can use movies, simply to convey what the person who's written is writing over there. And periods, as far as timing is concerned, completion of syllabus is concerned, if you've planned it well, if you've so aligned your syllabus throughout the year, I don't think there's any reason for any teacher in any subject to say that I'm running short of time and I'm chasing completion of syllabus.
You're absolutely right, ma'am. And India is an agriculture country. We are living in cities, but there are lakhs of or crores of schools in remote areas also. Still, they are believing in that method only. We have seen that if there are 18 to 20 chapters, they give 10 chapters in a subject, they give 10 chapters in the half yearlies and 10 chapters in the, in the finals. That stress, that old age, that sort of system is already going in many, many schools till now. During the pandemic, because this online teaching was a very new thing for people, especially in the remote areas. I had worked with many, many schools during the first year. There I came to know, I mean, as an experience, that how these teachers are not able to communicate with the students. They are not knowing anything. We fail just because of, or we get success because of our team. We are not directly connected with the students. The teachers are connected with the students. The teachers had to be polished. They have to be given training. They have to be told about this. So there also the management support is very important. There are many schools with less funds. They are the management. They are after only money. They don't want to spend money on anything. They just want that you keep on going to keep the drama on. If children are getting or not, that's not concerned. Revenue is being generated at the end of the day or not. This is what they are concerned. That mindset has to be changed. And also, the aim of this show is that through people like you, this thing should go to the management, to the principals, to the teachers, and to the parents also. that this is the reality. If, as in, all the stakeholders will not support for the good cause, we won't be able to do anything.
No, Mr. Chandok, I'd like to add on. It's not necessary that you have to spend money on giving teachers that kind of help.
Of course.
We have started these reading classes for our teachers. Reading classes, no, reading clubs, I would say, where they pick up one novel for the week and everybody reads. It's like that puzzle thing. What they say, you read one part and you read one part, and we come together and we discuss. So the novel is done. So this is where simple things that we can, strategies that we can come out with, where we can improve the skills of the teacher. Another thing I would like to point out was, I used to go to Raipur when I was with Pearson. There was a Raipur school in Raipur which was under me, and it was basically children coming from farmers' background. I mean, the parents were from farmers. And every time I used to meet the teachers, and they used to tell me, ma'am, these parents, they don't know English. So how can we improve the English of our students? That is a big myth, I would say. That, if the parent doesn't know how to speak that language, the child will never improve in that. That's a big, big myth, I would say. Because I helped and supported the teachers and guided them in such a way, within 1 year, all the students of that school had started speaking English, maybe not grammatically correct English, but with lot of confidence. They used to stand on the stage and speak, although their parents were not English speaking. So, these are the things which we need to talk to our teachers. We need to guide them, come up with new strategies. That's where the language, the beauty of the language, as Yashika said, that the teacher should feel the language, and when she feels the language, it reflects, it actually goes down to the student. That is what I told you, that in our school days, our teacher never used to bring the textbook to the classroom. But she made us feel that, oh my God, this is the best period that for the whole day. So this is where we have to keep on helping our teachers. I still believe in that.
I agree with you, Pratima. In fact, I remember my English teacher, Mr. Kalf was his name, and he taught the Romantic poets so beautifully that before we left England, I said, I just have to visit the Lake District. I have to go and see, Lake Grasmere, where Wordsworth was there. And two of my most memorable holidays has been a camping trip to Stratford, just to be in the place where Shakespeare was and to see his house and to go and see and if you go there and you see it, that place is so beautiful that all you have to do is close your eyes, and that blue water, you can see rippling across the daffodils, and as they move to the move of the water. But I must also say that in India, every 14 kilometers, the dialect changes. And more often than not, we tend to judge our teachers by the way they speak. The pronunciation needs to be correct. But if I'm saying there is a red truck on the road, and if I say there's a red truck on the road, in both cases, the pronunciation is correct. It's the emphasis that I put on the consonants that is different. That doesn't make me a lesser teacher.
Yeah.
If the pronunciation is correct, and if the passion is there, that subject, as I said, can come alive, even if it's a language. You don't need to go to a science laboratory like you have a science experiment coming up. Your classroom itself can be converted into a lab for every single subject. In fact, in our school, for the senior students, especially from grade 10 to 12, the students move from room to room. And we've got subject-specific rooms there, and it releases the boredom completely. It consolidates the teacher's resources. And in a classroom, which is just completely filled with a particular subject, even if a child is daydreaming, what's he looking at? Information related to the subject. So we as head teachers need to empower our teachers to be able to understand how they can keep up with the demands of the current generation. And the current generation's demands, as you say, Pratima, when we were in school, are very different to what the children's needs today are.
I've attended a session where the gentleman who took the session said, why do you need, beautiful handwriting from the students now? They're all typing.
Yes.
So, it's again a very debatable thing. But yes, true. There are so many things that, when we really look into it, yes, when we think about it.
Well, technology has changed how you write letters. Earlier,
Yes.
you used to have the contemporary style of writing English letters when you had right aligned and left aligned. But how many times will you press tab and go there? So the computer made it that everything is going to be left aligned for us. And CBSE now agrees with the same.
Yeah, Shika, the other day, 2 days back, one of our heads called me, ma'am, is the pronunciation of sour as sour or sour? And now I was in a fix because we always thought it was. See, this is how times are changing, with languages also, new languages coming up, the Hindi English language mix is coming up. So that is how, we have to be part of it and we have to take it forward.
Yep, very true.
Yeah.
Absolutely right, ma'am. That's a very, interesting topic of discussion. We'll come up to Anju ma'am. Anju ma'am.
Anju ma'am, I think is on an iPad now, or maybe I think you can go in with Gurleen ma'am and then come back to
Yeah,
Anju ma'am.
I'll come up.
Yeah.
Gurleen ma'am will come up to you now. As you know that in present era, students have become more smarter and they know the extensive use of technology. We see that the students, they don't attend the classes in the morning, and when the parents say that, what about your topic? So they say that, okay, we will see it in the YouTube over the teacher. So what do you say about this, ma'am?
You are on mute, ma'am.
Yeah. So am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these days we see that students have, and there's a report saying that 99.5% of the students are using computers for their Word documents. 99.5% of the students are using, computers for mailing. Then 97.5% of students are using internet for pleasure, and for classrooms 96.4%. So yes, technology, which is defined by Britannica as the application of scientific knowledge to manipulate the human resources, and this COVID times have really taught us and the students how to use it diligently and nicely. But the students were already in the digital pacifier era. We were using a tiny tot when he's not eating. The parents are showing some cartoon on the mobile to pacify him for some time. And so our students have really become smart in using. But here I feel that it also has its own pros and cons. Yes, it excites students, but at the same time it distracts also. It prepares students for future, but then students have become less social. They are just glued. I mean, if there are 4 members in the family, or there are 3 of the siblings sitting, they're all busy with their mobiles. Yes, gadgets, technology was a boon in disguise, because they could access the high quality of information. The performance rubrics were fair. I mean, technology gives a fair rubrics as well. Students' participation has improved, but then there were also issues of speed, and the creativity has gone a lot less. So here I believe that where students' assessments have become more fashionable because they are attaching a lot of other things along, but at the same time they have become less curious. When we see the assessments, they have copied and pasted. So it is how they they have become smarter, but then I wish they become wise in using technology. But at the same time, I also feel that to do a great right, if they do a little wrong, that's okay. And I really wish that we have another Tim Cook amongst them. Thank you.
That's great, ma'am. Wonderful experience also, and you have given to us. We'll again come back to Anju ma'am. Anju ma'am, I think you're having a connectivity problem.
The connectivity problem is there.
No issues, ma'am. No issues. It's
Yes,
better
yes,
you
sir.
join in from mobile only. It's better from mobile
I'm
only.
trying. Yes, yes. Now I'm joining from my mobile.
That's great, ma'am. So, ma'am, you also tell us the importance of language learning in curriculum.
Yes, Mr. Chandok, I feel that language learning, as my other colleagues have said, that it is very important to one's expression. A child, if it has to be expressed by a child, anything, language is very important. And in today's time, to meet the needs of the future, like whatever the situation is nowadays, students' language learning has been very, very important for one's expression and to enhance the students' performance across the whole, because every subject requires a language, as we all know, that every language has to be, whether it is English, Hindi, Sanskrit, or any other global language, other languages. So it has been there in our curriculum that students have been given a very, very important, I must say, it's an opportunity for the students. Nowadays, so many improvement amendments has been done in the curriculum, so that one can't be boundary, there is no boundary of one's knowledge, what I feel. And language learning has shown improvement in the students' cognitive function and, of course, the problem solving skills. And this always results in the higher academic performance, always it shows, because a child is able to express the thoughts, views, and in fact, what I feel, a child, if he or she belongs to a rural background, many of my experiences has been there where parents are not literate, and if a child is able to learn any language, of course, the whole family tries to improve themselves. And to make the language learning a central part of the curriculum, we have to engage the students, what I feel. And of course, today's teacher also has to master all the fields which it demands. Whatever is the demand of today's world, education, a teacher has to be master in those things. Otherwise, the students are going ahead. As far as the technology is concerned, as you have, all of us have experienced during the past 2 years, we all are digitally and technologically, we are so high. And in this, language also comes, whether it is computer languages or you can say the English, Hindi, any language. Professional development, all it requires the language. So, what I feel in the curriculum, it is very important that a person has to have master in the subjects and to maintain the relevance in the classroom.
Absolutely right,
Then
ma'am.
we must engage the language teachers and advocacy movement, what I feel, and inform the parents of not only the cognitive and academic benefits, but career benefits as well. People can, like, learning languages is based on the 5 goal areas that connect the development of communication skills, and which connect, as you all know, that in CBSE, the reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and all these things together has some connectivity with the language. And so it is very important, for as far as my views concerned, it has to be there in the curriculum.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Jaswinder sir, as you have heard, and we are also in shortage of time, you have heard about that the teacher has to communicate directly with the students, and the teacher should be well trained. How does your help app helps us to make it into the system of the teachers, help the teachers or how did it help the teachers? How that it is so creative that student also feel, interested. If the things and topics are not interesting, the children also don't learn. So please tell us how interesting your app is and how does it help the teachers as well as the students.
Thank you, Chandokji. Before I get on to that point, I would add on to certain things which I've heard from the other panelists and the principals who are quite senior. First, one important thing I say is language is what differentiates between Homo sapien and humans. Language is what made us what we are today, humans, to a great extent, whatever language it is. Because rightly said, with the language, you know the other person's culture. If you know the other person's culture, you fall in love with that person. And that is what our world needs now. Rather than fighting between the borders and fighting for languages, look what our neighboring countries done. They've killed a particular language. They killed a part of their own country. I'm sure most of you are from the army background. You understand that language is so important, that is what will make our human race survive. Care, love for the other languages. And that is why I think whatever language is there, if a person acquires it properly, that person becomes socially more adjustable, somebody who is respected more because of his language, whatever language it is. If I attain good language skills in Hindi, I will perform better, I will behave better. It also affects a person's behavior. So that's what I would get. Now, getting on to the question that you asked, you see, there are schools which are there in cities, there are schools which are in semi-urban areas, there are schools which are in urban areas. City schools are fortunate enough to get the right kind of teachers. Rural, semi-urban don't have that. So I always tell schools that you have to develop your teachers. You cannot import teachers. Whosoever you have, start working on them. You see, initially, earlier, when you and I studied, or maybe even before that, our teachers were trained by the Anglo-Indian teachers. That's why the language skills are beautiful. And that's why some of the other people, the language skills are beautiful. So what we need to do is we need to give them that access to that kind of content, because we will not be able to get those Anglo-Indian teachers anymore. That era is passed by. So what we as a product do is we get in the right kind of language skills to the teachers so that they deliver better. One thing, if you teach, you learn more. You don't teach, you will cease to learn. Very important. All of us who have done a B.Ed, we know जब B.Ed करे थे कुछ नहीं समझा, because most of us are Punjabi, I'll say कख नहीं समझ आता, right? But then afterwards, when we start delivering, we realize, oh, this is how it is done. So when you deliver, you learn more. So what we do is we allow the teachers to use content within the classroom to deliver better. And once they start using it, they go deeper and deeper and they get to do. That is one part. The other part is language needs a lot of exposure to acquire language. That means, how do you give enough exposure to a child to a particular part of language? So that is what the app actually gives them access to more and more content. Now, the more you use it, the better you become. That's one. Second is, you need to challenge today's child. Gone are those days you tell him, ye kar le, wo kar lega. No, you challenge him and then this one. So the process is that they have to go up on the leadership board. The challenge is, okay, let me do this. I've come this, let me go to the next level. So when you gamify learning, it's not only mathematics. Even English can be gamified. How do you go and you actually serve them? The platter should be very, very good looking. The taste is not in the food, it's in the way you present it. Okay, so language presents a person. So what we do is we actually help them do that. I'll give you a simple example. Okay, though I was not very good at English when I was studying, and when there was a show where I was called on the stage to distribute the awards, it so happened I finished, and then after that, the teacher who taught me and who became the principal of the school and then a director of the school, she said, Jacinda, how I wished you would have given that to me. They were tears, because she was my favorite teacher. So when we come to teachers, if a teacher makes the child or the children fall in love with her, the students will always excel in that subject. So these tools actually allow teachers to deliver in a way where they become, it becomes good. That's what it is. So language lab or language solution is nothing but a tool that a normal teacher will teach, or any good teacher will use to deliver better, to do better, and so that they go in a processed way, right? There's a process that you need to follow for any learning. And a lot of things happen is that if you use a support material, you can always do better. So that's the whole idea of giving presentation material to the teacher to deliver, practice material and challenging material for the students to practice. And both of them, when they come in, that is there. And with the current pandemic, what happened? This being online has helped. Because child may want to acquire a certain skill when he wants, not when you want, especially when it comes to English. I want to listen to something late evening, but you want to give it to me at 11:30 in the morning. I'm not interested. So what happens is the child gets access to that kind of learning whenever he wants, or whenever he or she feels like doing that. So technology enabled learning is nothing but giving them the platter when they want it, not when you want to give it to them. So that's how these tools help, and that's what we've mastered. So we're working on it from last 15 years and 1 million students. So we also learn a lot. Let me tell you one thing, it is not teacher that we say, when we deliver, we come up with a lot of new suggestions. And you know what I just picked up? Dialogue writing is not a part of my product. While we were discussing, I simply wrote it down to my team sitting in the next room, work on dialogue writing, because I never thought that dialogue writing was so important, but yes, it is. So I've simply put it on a message right now, and that guy came in and he's seeing that I was on this, he went back. If you must have seen that the guy who came in, the head of academy says, sir, ye kya likh rahe ho? I said, okay, we'll discuss that. So that's how, this learning happens. We teach, we learn, we teach, and then that the whole cycle goes. That's how language learning goes on. So that would be the answer to your question.
That's great, sir. That is very interesting. You make it more interesting and helpful for the teachers and interesting for the students. And that combination becomes, an ultimate one. That's great, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We'll come up to the next round, and it's a request. 1 minute answer I need, because everybody has to move for some or other work. Aradhna ma'am, will come up to you first. What do you say about that technology plays an important role in language learning?
Technology, does play a very important role, but I still wouldn't say it's a be-all or end-all of learning, because we learned without all that technology and we learned pretty well. But technology has come in, like a breath of fresh air during this time. And it's the way we use technology. Technology is not a replacement. It is an aid to learning. So like I said, language has an emotional connect. So it is always will be the teacher's most important. And like Yashika said, the teacher brings the classroom alive. Also, how the teacher perceives, English as a language. I'm talking about English, please read any language for that. Now, I wanted to interrupt, when this thing was being discussed about syllabus. It is the perspective of syllabus that we have. It's about the teacher. The CBSE tells us we've got to do 17 chapters. But where is it written that we have to do them one after another? Why can't we do them as concepts? Why can't we do them the way we feel the students will feel enthused about it? And it's not necessary that we read the chapter, question, answer, fill in the blanks. No, not at all. They're comprehension things. You just, you explain, or you enact out a chapter, you explain a chapter, you take the children out, whatever you do, or you use technology. Now, as far as language labs are concerned, Mr. Jaswinder Singh, I would, with due apologies, again, language labs are excellent, but the teacher's the main, the focal point. I was teaching the Jawans, like I told you, I was teaching them English. They had a full-fledged language lab. So I once asked them, I said, language lab में बैठते हो, क्या करते हो, क्या सीखते हो, क्यों नहीं बोल सकते हो? He says, मैडम वो तो ईयरफोन लगा देते हैं, नींद आ जाती है. तो वहां तो इतने थके होते हैं, वहां सो जाते हैं, लगाकर एयर कंडीशन रूम में बैठते हैं और सो जाते हैं, because there was no teacher to enthuse them. So with technology, it's very, very important that, and also now the whole perspective of teachers has changed. We may not have, like, I am not a English postgraduate. Today I'm writing books on grammar. It's my passion. It is my drive to, and my love for the language. So we need to choose teachers who have the attitudes right. They may not be, degree holders as it is. Half the degrees are from universities, which are not worth their salt. So that is secondary. I'm not saying they shouldn't be educated, but knowledge can be substituted by technology. Attitudes cannot be substituted by technology. The way a teacher feels or passion cannot be substituted by technology. So technology has a lot of advantages, but do not, think that technology will do everything for the language. It still comes from the heart.
Yes, absolutely right, ma'am. A combination is needed, and teacher is the heart of learning, and the technology is just a tool. So a combination of teacher and a good teacher and a good technology would give 100% result from the students also. Thank you, ma'am. We'll come up to Yashika, ma'am, again. Ma'am, as we know that every child is born with different ability, how can we recognize the potential of each child?
I think it's a good question for me to answer because, as you pointed out in the beginning, I've got a little spattering of everything on my plate. In a class of, let's say, 35 students or 50 students, depending upon your school and your policy, there are different styles of learning. And every single school offers ample opportunity in the field of co-curricular activities or extracurricular activities, sports, games. And now we're talking about incorporating not just art, but games, etc., in your curriculum as far as your pedagogical delivery is concerned. So you're creating a plethora of platforms where students can express themselves. Now, it beats me hollow that if a teacher can say, I don't know what that child is good at, 40 kids and so many avenues open, and you can't identify what a child is good at. There is ample exposure given to the children, but you as a teacher need to understand that you don't have to focus on the ones who are the cream. Because the ones, and we have a policy of no child being left behind, and identify, relate. If you relate as a teacher to the children and the children come up to you, you will identify what the core talent of every single child is and provide opportunities for them to develop the same.
That's great, ma'am. Absolutely right. Anju, ma'am, what are your views on this? Anju, ma'am.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
You're muted.
Yes. Even I feel Yashika has truly said that a teacher has to recognize the talent, uh, the inner which has to be exposed, and only a teacher can do this. And I feel every child is born with a different ability. And it is the work of a teacher which that can be recognize the potential of each child. And one single greatest strength may be uncovering the hidden talent of the child, what I feel. And science tells us that it is not necessary for every child to take a liking to any specific activity. When a child might not be interested in reading, he might be good in some other sport, music, or dance. So let us not discourage saying that everybody is picking up the book. And in picking up the book also, what I feel, subject interest is also one of the factor of a child's progress and upliftment. And it is very truly said by Yashika that there are so many avenues in the class, in the environment, and a teacher has to recognize what is the child is better enough to do. And I tell you a few tips through which we can find or recognize the potential of a child. Eagerness of questioning, like if any topic, if any subject is done, and maybe some children are interested and some children are not. So the eagerness of questioning is a very important characteristic of a child. To encourage to ask the questions is, it is the interest which is very important for one's liking for a subject. And it is, this leads to the nourishment in the cognitive development. what I feel. And creativity is the key to success. My policy says that creativity is the key to success. And in every stage of a child's development, creativity, internally motivated, and we give more emphasis on the child's intellectual growth.
So, ma'am, there are
Mostly,
many ways you want to say there are many ways that
yeah,
we can bring up the holistic development of the child.
exactly. The
Right, ma'am.
holistic development,
Yes, ma'am.
and rather than just running after the grades, we
Sure,
can
ma'am. Absolutely
also,
right.
yes,
CBSE
yes.
also says this that instead of
I
running
think
after the numbers,
yes, you
marks.
also agree that CBSE said that curricular and co-curricular both goes hands in hand, and it is all of us, our talent, to expose and enhance the children creativity,
Absolutely right, ma'am.
and we
Thank you.
just have to recognize our capacity and development and our talent to the full potential.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll come up to Gulin, ma'am, now. Ma'am, if teachers do not become smarter than their students, we have seen that in the morning they switch on the link, but cameras are off and they're moving. And if the parents are saying, they're saying, probably we'll see up the YouTube channel or some other classes we'll take. So we say if teachers do not become smarter than their students, then the role of the teacher will vanish. Give some suggestions in 1 minute. How can we improve the role of a teacher?
Yes, yes. So it is said that one day with a great teacher is far better than 1,000 days of diligent study, right? So COVID times have really, challenged the status quo. I mean, teacher needs to change. They need to change their way of teaching. They need to be really smart. They need to awaken the joy in the class on the virtual platform, wherein a child can be glued to it. I mean, जैसे class में होता है, you really like the eye contact of the teacher and that twitching of the ear probably. So how a teacher should be innovative on the virtual platform as well. And I feel that it is the teacher who can change the climate of the class. So they really need to strengthen that kind of way of teaching now in the coming years. And I believe that we normally say, you should think out of the box, but I believe that there should be no box at all. They should explore well and bring the best in a child. Even if they have to flip the class, let it be on the virtual platform, get into group discussion, let the child, explain. And, so I think they should opt for all these ways and fancy. Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely right, ma'am. A very precise and a very good answer. So, just with this, I will come up to you now at the end of the session. And what we have come to know from you is that, or from the discussion, we come to know that the teacher has to keep the lesson very interesting. If the interesting and interactive, or the children are not communicated properly, they won't take interest either online or offline. So, sir, if you like to tell something about your app, for sure, that how it is more interesting and more specific towards the language learning.
I will do that. But I would want to draw your attention to Aradhana ma'am. Aradhana ma'am, you rightly said that the old analog labs was something that they were supposed to listen to something and then feel good about it and maybe record something. But now things have changed. Now, when we talk about language delivery, it is blended, right? When we talk about blended teaching, that means there's a component of a teacher delivery where the teacher delivers. Based on that, she does activities, and through activities they actually go on to the other practice part. So that's it. Yes, gone are those days when you had analog lab where there used to be a small audio which was being played and they were able to listen. Things have gone beyond that. That's one. Coming to your point is, how do we make everything interesting, right, Mr. Chandok? That's the question. So again, I'll go back to the same thing. The teacher decides, like Gurleen ma'am said, the teacher has to make it interesting. And yes, flipped classroom is the way out, because again, you're challenging a child. I'll come to my point, which is important, but this is more important, is what is important. One is the child should learn how to do research. right? And to do research, they should form good reading habits. NEP says research-based learning. Okay, so they do research, but when they do research and they have to talk about 10 lines, they don't get 10 lines, they get 10,000 lines. So then they learn how to go through that and get the right crux out of it. So comprehending and getting it. Then they have to present in front of the class, so their communication skills and their presentation skills come in. And that is what brings in confidence. Today's child is either very confident or not confident. There's no in between. Reason being, again, the gadgets. They are loners or they're connecting with 1,000 people. So what we need to do is we need to see to it that our kids use it, judiciously, that one. But that can only come by educating them. Okay. Coming on to my point is that the question that you asked is, how do we make it interesting using our app? So we give teachers different ways of delivering it, right? So the creativity of a teacher should never be compromised. They have something, they use it as a tool, and they can deliver the way they want, because teacher needs to be creative. If I have to vomit what I have seen or read something from the screen, I am not going to be creative. So the teacher gets a support material to be able to go from one point to the other point, but has his or her own creativity to the best. And that is one thing. Second thing is, what we also work on is, I always take up this example. If you're taking a child from point A to point B, then what you do is you ask them questions which are revolving around point A to point B, which are known as concept clearing questions. In English too, they are there. So if a teacher starts from this point to this point, and if there's some point the child is not understand, when they go practice, they are actually able to understand. And the reporting structure, which again helps the teacher. Teacher can't go and check each and every student's 10,000 questions, 5,000 questions, 500 questions, 50 questions, or 5 questions. So what happens? The engine there checks it and then tells the report and gives the report, which actually says is that this is where the problem is. Your entire class, where are the weak spots, or for each individual, because remedial is again very important. A child should know where he needs to work. A teacher should know which areas she needs to focus more for the entire class. So what these tools do, they not only help them deliver, they help students practice, and they also help the teacher know where exactly he or she needs to work. So when we say it, when we get up to results, these are assessments which are for learning, not off learning. You should never ever assess for, off learning. For karo, and then that's the way the kid will also be confident, because today's child has options of shutting you off. He has the other online teacher there. So you need to make the child feel very confident, even if he is not good. And let me tell you one thing. The idea is to put what I have, my feeling, my expression to you. If I make mistake here and there, doesn't matter, but to help them go from one. So what the app does is, without letting the child know that he doesn't know, it subconsciously brings language to them. That's what we work on. That's how these apps and all these are helpful.
That's great, sir. And we can sum up like this, that every child wants to learn. But if he is not understanding the concept, or if he understands the concept, the basic things, so he will, of course, take interest in the studies. He will not miss any of the classes, this online or offline. He will take interest in the studies. And that is the importance of the first most important component is the teacher. And the second is the tools like your app. Thank you so much, S.S.Chandhok sir. Thank you all of you for giving so much time to us, and for a very wonderful discussion, in fact. Thank you, Radna ma'am. Thank you, S.S.Chandhok sir. Thank you, Yashika ma'am. Thank you, Anju ma'am. Thank you, Kuldeep ma'am.
Thank you for having us with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then thank you, all of you. Lovely.
We will connect.
Stay safe. Jai Hind.
Yeah, we will
Jai
connect.
Hind, Jai
We will
Bharat.
connect.
Jai
Yeah.
Hind.